Hey everyone, welcome to the Everyday Human podcast. My name is Easton Taverna. Each day I'll share a reflection written by me and inspired by literature, poetry, music, movies, video games, and more. And after that, I'll share a prompt for you to write your own reflection. Together, we'll explore what it means to be human. Every month, we'll walk a new path, taking a look at life, death, the universe, and everything in between. Thanks for coming along. I'm glad you're here. For more, visit eastontaverna.com or join me on Instagram at _everydayhuman. Hello, it's May 15th, and today's reflection is titled, Love Them for Who They Are. This one was inspired by Thomas Merton and his book No Man is an Island. And you may recall the episode we had from March 20th that was called More Than Just a Number. That one was inspired by the poem No Man is an Island by John Donne. So, clearly, that poem influenced Merton when titling his book. So Thomas Merton was an American Trappist monk, writer, theologian, mystic, poet, and social activist. He was quite prolific in his writing, having penned more than 50 books in 27 years. And most of these explored spirituality, social justice, and pacifism. He also became an advocate of interfaith understanding. He explored Eastern religions quite a bit and often connected with and opened dialogues with leaders of other faiths. I was unfamiliar with his work until finding this book, and while I haven't read the whole thing, I found quotes from it, and in particular the one we're using for today's reflection, to be quite impactful and thought-provoking. Thomas Merton was born in 1915, and he died at the age of 53 in 1968. Here's the quote from his book, No Man is an Island. The beginning of this love is the will to let those we love be perfectly themselves, the resolution not to twist them to fit our own image. If in loving them we do not love what they are, but only their potential likeness to ourselves, then we do not love them. We only love the reflection of ourselves we find in them. Now, if you listened to May 4th's episode of The Everyday Human, that was inspired by Robert Frost's poem Hyla Brook. And there's a little overlap here between these two reflections. That quote from Merton and the last line and general idea of this poem, Hyla Brook. Remember, it goes, we love the things we love for what they are. So I just love finding those little connections sometimes between reflections and works of art and literature from different writers and creators. Okay, now here is my reflection inspired by that quote. As a kid, my best friends were neighbors, the kids living on either side of my house. We were around the same age. They were maybe a year or two older. They were boys, and of course, it was geographical convenience. Sure, it helped that we were into the same things that most kids liked back then. Ninja Turtles, G.I. Joe, X-Men, Sega Genesis, and Super Nintendo. Ah, the 90s. It was easy to get along. As I got older, the girls I dated went to the same colleges or worked in the same restaurants as I did. We had school or work to talk about, hung out with the same people at the same places. Again, simple. It made sense. Finding harmonies in those you love isn't a bad thing. Having surface-level similarities is fine. It is the topsoil that most budding relationships grow in, after all. But is that really love? Or is it convenient? Easy? What happens when time moves on and circumstances change? School ends, new jobs come, friends drift. What if you find out after all that stuff is stripped away that you're really two completely different people with absolutely nothing in common? Is there any love left to find? Well, that depends. Because sometimes it takes a lot of trial and error to figure out the secret that love, real love, is a radical acceptance of your friend, family member, or partner. It's not liking the same things. It's not running in the same crowd. It's not about sharing the same physical space day after day. It's not loving someone for the potential you believe they have, or for the expectations you've set for them in your mind. It's not about trying to reshape them to better fit your personality or your needs. It's loving them for who they are, right here and right now. And besides, if you really loved them, why would you want them to be more like you? Why would you want to change them? You wouldn't. And there ends today's reflection. And very briefly, there's an asterisk in the written reflection after you wouldn't. And while I think it goes without saying, I felt the need to just include it. And the footnote reads, unless, of course, they were actively harming themselves or others. So I think here a big thing for me that I've learned over the years is something that I call the poison of expectations. I even titled the chapter in Lux, The Poison of Expectations, my fantasy book. We all have these expectations of others, and they're often very high for those we love, those we're closest to. But the thing about expectations is that they're often not grounded in reality. There's these things that live in our mind that we create in our imagination. And then when people in real life, those we love, don't live up to these things that we've crafted and conjured out of thin air, we can feel let down. So, of course, it's good for someone in a relationship to be predictable and steady and calm. But it's also up to you as an active participant in that relationship to manage your own expectations about other people. And don't expect them to change, and don't look for them to change unless they want to. Otherwise, you might be waiting forever. And there may be quirks or things that you don't necessarily love about the person you love. But, the point of this reflection today is that if it's just who they are, don't look to change every little thing. There's no perfect version of anyone, especially not, yourself and those you love. Learn to love people for who and what they are. All right, so here is your reflection question. Do I love my partner, my friends, my children, and my family for who they are now, not for who I want them to be, not for who I imagine they could become if they just changed this or that? And that's it for May 15th. I'll be back tomorrow, May 16th, with another reflection. Have a good one. Take care.